Hi, welcome to Talking Shop. This is EKM's look at the world of e-commerce. I'm Mike and this is Jessie.
Hello.
And coming up on this week's episode...
Biometric technology is paying with your face or palm the future of frictionless checkout. Google takes yet another run at e-commerce and Amazon. 66% of retailers have increased their digital marketing budgets in 2022. Studies find that a majority of UK e-commerce sites' search engines don't work. And a growing number of US consumers are turning to UK online retailers for their purchases.
Right, so we'll start this month's episode looking at the future, which doesn't really seem like this could be too far away, really, does it?
No, not at all.
This is looking at biometric payments, so paying with your face or palm as like a frictionless checkout. Now, we're not sort of saying about Apple Pay, obviously, where your Apple phone itself obviously has biometric ways in which you can open it and then, confirm a payment. This is in person. In store.
And it's Tesco, I think, that is kind of leading this charge. I guess there's a rumor that Tesco, as early as next year, could be introducing biometric checkout in their stores.
Oh, this all leads into as well that automation, doesn't it? About, self-checkout sort of areas as well. So, as well as not having to pay with cash or any sort of physical items there, you're going to have, no sort of physical help there as well. And there seems to be this, I think we've mentioned it quite a few times on this show, where this sort of battle between, doing people out of jobs, automating everything, and then making things as frictionless as this says and seamless as possible. Mm-hmm. So, sort of think, will we get to that point where we've gone so far that people will sort of revolt against it, won't they?
It's funny that you mentioned that, because in the article that you sent me, they were actually talking about people are potentially going to boycott Tesco that aren't quite happy with this idea of this move towards a cashless society. So a lot of people really don't like this idea. I mean, personally, I think it's great. I think it's secure. It's contactless has reached up to like £100 limit in most places now, which could be really easy for anyone to get a hold of your card and just go tap it on anything. Or if it's a thumb or my face, I mean, they'd have to go through quite a lot to.
It's a bit Hannibal, that, isn't it? It's a bit, was it a gain or something like that? Yeah, it's a good point. Exactly. Yeah. I always get really confused with it's amazing, isn't it? Thumbnail.
Oh, it's incredible.
And the face thing I can kind of understand, because you do, it maps your face and that sort of thing. But to have so many unique fingerprints.
It's absolutely maddening. Like, maddening's the wrong word. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't wrap my brain around it quite. But it does feel like it's far off. Although if Tesco is really looking at as early as next year, then maybe it's sooner than we think. But I do think that seeing a cashless society, as they say, I think we're pretty far off that in my eyes.
Completely, yeah. And I think this comes back to, at the end of the day, this creates frictionless payment, but the thing underpinning those frictional payments is still a physical amount of money.
Yes.
The money is set in, an actual asset, whether that's, gold or whatever. And you as much as you look at your bank account and look at a figure, there is still actual physical items that are making that figure, if that makes sense.
Somewhere.
And obviously the thing against that is where you have cryptocurrency and that sort of thing, and then that's a whole nother debate. So I'm all for, these advancements in payments, and like you say, this is probably more secure than what we've had ever.
Definitely.
The things that always leave me a little bit uneasy are those getting rid of staff and employees and that sort of thing, and sort of, you walk into an unmanned shop. I don't know why, but it just puts me on edge a little bit, both from like a customer experience and also just, sort of the wider sort of world of, what will we do for jobs? What will we do, but it's interesting. It's one to sort of look out for. It won't be too long before you are walking in somewhere and says, yep, I'll pay just like that. So that's interesting. The battle between Google and Amazon goes on, particularly with e-commerce. Now, obviously, Amazon, the largest e-commerce platform in the world. Google obviously always wanting to compete and find their place in that, sphere. Interesting, what the executive, I apologise, I don't really know how to say this, but Prabhakar Raghavan, and they've been sort of talking about their latest advancements in their, in their marketplace and what they can do for merchants that rivals Amazon. And a large part of that will be almost what I'd like to call the Shazam of shopping. Where you have a song and you find it in your Shazam, which is just one of the greatest apps in my world. I don't know about
Do you still use Shazam?
Yeah, why? Is there an alternative?
You can just take your phone and say, hey Siri, if you have an iPhone, hey Siri, what song is this? And then she'll just...
I've never really bonded with Siri. I don't know about you. I don't think I've ever asked Siri something that wasn't, when Siri first came out.
Where do you hide a dead body?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Or will you sing this song for me, Siri, sort of thing. I've never really, it's interesting you say that.
Yeah.
No, I still head to the Shazam.
No, I haven't had that on my phone in 5 years at least.
Does it seamlessly integrate with Spotify?
Yeah.
Right.
I think it is powered by Shazam. I think Shazam has partnered up with Apple.
Well,
we are getting really sidetracked right now, but basically the idea here is that you could be out in public and see an item, take a picture of that item, or not even have to open your camera, and then Google would instantly
pick up on it.
Know what it is that you're searching for.
Yeah. That's been a huge thing, a huge advancement with the iOS and the Google Play store as well. The camera settings on Android and what have you, is that you do get your camera out now. You don't even take the picture, and it will start picking out bits, and that's down to the QR code, which I still laugh about, how it died and came back with a vengeance during COVID. Also, when you're, one of the great things that I have used quite a bit recently is when you get your camera out and you start picking up words, and it
really good.
And it will
really
transcribe it.
Yeah, so the example that was in this article that we're looking at was the CEO. Is this the CEO?
The chief exec anyway.
Chief exec. His wife was looking at a rose bush, and it had some sort of a fungus on it. She wanted to buy some insecticide for a rose bush, so she scanned a picture of the rose bush and it identified the problem, and then she was able to seamlessly check out and purchase. That's amazing.
It's such a sweet story, isn't it? It had to be a rose bush, didn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't what's the sauce on this kebab. That's the most Silicon Valley sort of explanation I've ever seen.
But I mean, the possibilities with this are amazing, and the technology is already sort of getting there. There are, you can upload pictures to certain shopping apps. I think ASOS has a picture shopping. I believe that you can, or they'll find it similar to the image that you're looking for. So it.
Right, brilliant.
Sort of development on that.
Well, that is literally what ASOS was, wasn't it? I think, have we touched on this before? But as seen on screen is what ASOS...
Hey, this is news to me.
Oh, well, ASOS stands for as seen on screen. Oh. So ASOS began as almost like a bit of a sort of an online magazine of, the sort of get the look that you get in a lot of, the Closer and all those sorts of magazines. But ASOS was like you can buy this from here, and almost directing you to where to buy it. Then it developed into, we will sell you the items that are on show here, and then obviously then it developed from there and just to a huge clothing retailer.
I had no idea about this.
That's how it started.
So they were really ahead of the game there. So this sort of like bringing shopping into our everyday life is just absolutely growing massive, and Google is really taking the lead on this. But the idea, I guess, for them is sort of going to divert people from, a lot of people when they need something, they go straight to Amazon.
Yeah.
And hopefully now they're going to go straight to Google, take a picture of whatever they're looking for, and then without even having to leave Google, it will direct them to the checkout flow.
Yeah.
So hopefully this will actually be a really good thing for small businesses.
Absolutely.
To just directly, you can get that business back from Amazon if you've been competing with that someone could just search for an item and then go straight to your checkout.
Yeah, because I don't really, I might be wrong here, but I don't really ever see Google getting involved in the fulfillment stage of any sort of products.
No.
In that regard. So this is a way of, unlike Amazon, where you have obviously all the fulfillment taken care of and you're almost like a bit like a drop shipper supplier, this would be basically to direct people through to your shop on Google. So there's probably never been a better time with Google focusing so much on this, on an industry that is meant to project to get to about $2.27 trillion in 2025. It's probably never been a better time to really look at the optimization of your website and engage with Google Shopping and all that sort of thing. So that would be our tip from there. And that's sort of exciting times, really. Will there be anything that we don't go to Google for? No, probably not.
My grandma does use Bing, though.
Oh, really? Is that because it's the default for a browser?
No, we won't get into the reasons why.
Okay, we'll leave that there.
For another time.
Right, next up, 66% of retailers have increased their digital marketing budgets in 2022. Not the most surprising of headlines, but I thought it was worth touching on, particularly if you're sort of looking at revamping your marketing and what have you. as we move in these more digital times, more and more platforms launch, more and more social media platforms launch. It means that higher spend is going to obviously migrate towards spending on those. So looking at some of the figures, this is from our Digital Commerce 360 survey from Digital Commerce 360. They polled 73 online retailers in April and May, and they were all heading up and increasing their digital marketing spend. Many of them, over 50% of them, by 44%. So that's. I mean, again, it's not really that surprising, is it?
No, absolutely not. I mean, any online retailer especially needs to be investing in digital marketing. If their business is online, their customers are online, they need to be doing their advertising online as well.
Yeah, it's all macro issues always play into this as well, don't they? Less and less people commuting, so then those billboards aren't as effective. And that can even, it might not be that less people are using those platforms, it just might be that, your big clear channels of the world, global and what have you, they are reducing their rates and what have you. So actually, it might not be that less people are using physical marketing avenues, it's just that maybe the rates have dropped in there and higher rates in digital marketing spaces, Facebook advertising going up per amount you need to spend per reach, and TikTok and all these new things launching. So if you're looking at where to sort of put your marketing budget, most people are going digital, and that's completely understandable, isn't it?
And then when we're saying digital as well, I was saying that the top ones being email marketing, like Google Shopping, Google advertising, those sorts of things, and then content marketing. So that would be your Facebooks, your TikToks, your Twitters, etc. Yeah,
exactly, and promoting blog posts and what have you as well. Of course, email marketing always great for that direct comms,
But that was the top one, was email marketing in the survey. It was the absolute top of the top, which is really great ROI on email marketing as well.
Absolutely. And you can cater it around. And it's good for retention purposes as well. And you can really track your funnel really with email marketing, can't you? And optimize it a lot easier than social media spending. So definitely worth looking into if you don't do too much emails. Interesting sort of more technical one here. The majority of UK e-commerce sites, search engines, don't work, a study reveals. Now, how do they not work? Well, it's not that there's like a bug in the code or whatever. It's more the fact that people mashing the keyboard with their palm, as I do.
I know you've got big hands, but you really should use your fingers.
Honestly, I'm quite conscientious about spelling and grammar and what have you, even in personal text messages. But the thing that really lets me down is big fat fingers. And when I'm searching for things online, I will, use a dot instead of a space. I'll mash it. And
not even near each other on the Apple keyboard. I don't know how you're managing that, but I'll just.
They are, aren't they? I don't know, but So and it's sort of about that really, how it's saying that it's understanding search engines and the search on your website. It's understanding natural language. People aren't going to spell things right all the time. But they are going to want the result at the end. So it's looking at platforms like ourselves about whether they're putting work in to make those search functionalities understand what someone really wants to find.
Yes, absolutely. Good time to maybe tease something that we've got coming this summer.
Yes.
And we are improving our search functionality here on EKM, so hoping to address some of these issues and make it so that search works better for the customers on our platform. But aside from that, I mean, it is really important as a retailer to make sure that you are thinking about the way that people are searching for products when they're trying to find, this could be called a journal or a diary or a notebook. So there's a lot of different ways that somebody might be looking for one single product. So you kind of have to think about that when you're filling out your product description, is using words, thinking very carefully about how you've titled something, but not putting all your eggs in one basket and making sure I'm calling this a diary. Well, someone else might not. So you really need to be thinking about those sorts of things.
Exactly, and then you need to think about presentation, because then you do get into that sort of eBay language where you're listing so many different words for a product in the title, and it doesn't look that trustworthy or
exactly.
But you're dead right, I think, with descriptions when you're sort of building, when you're in your sort of inventory manager and you're filling out those metadata pieces, have a think about what people might search for to retrieve that sort of result. They're saying that 75% sorry, where's the stat I'm looking for here? The study found that a quarter were unable to handle misspellings by shoppers, with 75% missing out on additional sales through relevant product recommendations or category listing pages. So yeah, that's sort of saying that, you know, they're not sort of getting those search terms in there. About over 3/4 of 50 retailers tested delivered 0 or irrelevant results when presented with conversational queries. So it's that sort of conversational factor. And, you know, for development teams like our own, you know, whether it's for e-commerce websites, whether it's for automated chat bots and all that sort of thing, they're all looking for this research, this user experience or research about understanding natural language and conversational ways in which, you know, they sort of speak. Because we've all sort of been there where, you know, maybe it's your mobile phone supplier where you're on a, you know, from a customer service point of view, where you start talking to what is obviously like a bot, and it just doesn't understand what you're trying to say, and you're getting very frustrated. So always something to think is get into the mind of your customer and the consumer about, you know, what they would be searching for, and you know, and sort of position what you're trying to sell from there. Right, this is a really, we've had some doom and gloom stories on Talking Shop, so I wanted to sort of hit us with some feel-good stuff. A growing number of US consumers are turning to UK online retailers for purchases, which just in itself is a great headline. So why? The survey of 1,254 US cross-border online shoppers found 1 in 4 Gen Z consumers are more than 1 in 5, more than 1 in 5 millennials buy from UK online retailers at least once a month. 1 in 4. That's a high number. It's a quarter of those 1,254 people surveyed.
Yeah.
We've got a great dynamic here. As you know, from this side of the pond and from the other side of the pond. Jessie, take the lead on this. Why?
I think it's really like is Anglophile. Is that
yeah, Anglophile.
I really
that's
think
a great
that's
word.
what it is. I think it's just like sort of a romantic idea that Americans have of what people are doing over in England that makes British products seem exciting.
Yeah.
British brands, I think British fashion, British music, British culture in general is just really interesting to people in the American markets, and sort of especially Gen Z are looking to be a bit different. You know, they really highly value individuality more so than their millennial counterparts. So I'm not surprised to see that they'd be looking to sort of tap into something new and different, and be looking across the pond.
That's just a great explanation, and you know, and it's nice to hear, you know, like Anglophiles and that sort of thing, because I think, you know, we are quite reserved as a nation, but it is important to remember that it is our great export, is our cultural sort of, you know, sort of what we've contributed to pop music, to art, to you know, all the arts in that respect. You know, as we sort of worry about how we've sort of decreased as a manufacturing power, you know, in that regard, we will, you know, always be, you know, very much at the top of cultural significance around the world, just due to what we export.
Absolutely.
You know, in terms of culture, media. You know, you look at broadcasting, you look at films, music, the whole gamut of it, and then obviously within that, you know, you have food, which I know you're not sometimes keen on some of that food,
no comment.
But it does have a lot of cultural significance, doesn't it?
Especially, I feel like coming off of the Jubilee weekend, as we're filming this, that whole just British sentiment that was there over the whole sort of 4-day weekend, carrying that forward in the magic of be British, buy British, and just I don't know how to say it. Yeah, that patriotism of, but Americans are tuning in as well. They're really interested in what we're doing here in the UK. And I think British retailers can take advantage of that. Not only are the British public looking to buy things that are made in England, so are Americans. Yeah. So or not just in England, in the UK. So if you are a British retailer, make a big deal out of it.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
Not only will people in the UK want to buy products that are made in Britain, so will people in other places.
Yeah, and of course we're, you know, as you know, we're really proud to be a UK-based e-commerce platform, and we'll always champion, you know, the great UK products. So if you ever want to let us know about some of the great things you're selling, just let us know at marketing@ekm.com. But yeah, really great story. I do actually advise to look into that, because it's really interesting, and it's nice to see a lot of positivity. And also, you know, looking the other side of our aisles, you know, we are still incredibly culturally significant in Europe, and people are still very much interested in, you know, in products that you might have to sell that, you know, just have that real sort of British feel. So yeah, really, really exciting times. think we've covered some really interesting topics, I think, this week. I've really enjoyed that. Right, we'll be back again next month for our look at the world of e-commerce news. Until then, make sure you're subscribing to our channel, to all our latest series as well, including EKM Unboxed, which we really enjoy doing, where we unbox one of our customers' products and we sort of look about how it's presented and how it's got to us, and give some hints and tips on the best ways in which to deliver your products. Until next time, see you later.
Bye.